Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. Noni Madueke is doing his medicals at Arsenal. Part 1 is taking place today and part 2 of the medicals will be done tomorrow as part of the final moves to see Noni Madueke arrive as a new Arsenal player. Announcement should be coming in on Monday or Tuesday, and Arsenal are serious. They are going for other players now. Emirates has crucially been left out of Crystal Palace's kit launch, which is bizarre, which is indicative of what Crystal Palace are actually expecting to happen this summer. The inevitable is going to happen. Crystal Palace will be selling Emirates to Arsenal. Talks ongoing between the two parties, and Crystal Palace are very optimistic they will get the money they want from the sale of Emirates. They expect a bid very soon from Arsenal, but they've left him out of a very important element to their campaign, and that is the new kit launch. They know what is coming. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Arsenal, yes, may be disappointing in some parts, but they're doing the work. Of course, Andre Bata has got now 7 days to deliver before we get into pre-season. We got into pre-season on July 19, and today is July 12th. So that means you have 7 days for Andre Bata to cook and deliver. But let's get into it. Let's start off with that Noni Madueke story. Obviously, it was confirmed yesterday that Chelsea had given the player full permission to do his medicals at Arsenal. The player flew from the USA yesterday, and he arrived yesterday as well. And today we understand he's doing his medicals. Part 1 of the medicals is being done today, and part 2 will be done tomorrow. So tomorrow we expect him to get his medicals done and finally sign as a new Arsenal player. Noni Madueke is getting closer and closer to that confirmation as a new Arsenal signing. Obviously, like I said yesterday, nothing is gonna block this move. It's all about Arsenal fans now getting behind Noni Madueke. It's about us now supporting the player and maybe seeing the vision that the manager and seeing the vision that Andre Bata actually sees. And what actually makes me a little bit confident on the Noni Madueke deal is two things. One is Andre Bata actually agreed for this to happen. I think Andre Bata for me is a top-notch sporting director, and I've seen a couple of things from him to actually understand this and for me to believe that he's good enough to make the right decisions for the club. For example, him saying that we shouldn't spend about 25 million on a new goalkeeper that is a backup, and we should sign Kepa for 5 million. That is the strength, and that is the decision that comes from the wisdom of a good sporting director with a lot of experience. He's also done a couple of things that I think are benefiting Arsenal. The signing of Christian Nogard, the signing of Christian Musquera. He has decided to go for these low budget but yet effective and very good signings to replace players that are leaving and then focus the bigger part of the budget to the attacking front. And that is the one thing that makes me say, if Andre Bata agreed to Madueke, there is something there maybe. I don't know. I mean, Edu was a yes man. I don't know if Andre Bata is going to become a yes man to Mikel Arteta as well, but certainly that is not the case at the moment. We are not having a yes man in Andre Bata. He's told him, we are not going to sign Jean Garcia. It's a wastage of money. And we are also not going to sign these very expensive centre backs. It's a wastage of money. Let's focus on areas where the team needs more improvement. And then later, after that, we can actually move for better players. And I think, for me, that is genius from Andre Bata. That is absolutely very, very strong. So maybe Andre Bata has looked at Noni Madueke and he said, I have worked with such players before. Maybe at 23, Andre Bata and Mikel Arteta both believe the potential of the player is yet to be fulfilled. So that is one thing that makes me believe this might be a signing that has got some significance and some points to it. Of course, the only question is, have we seen enough? Have we seen enough of Noni Madueke for Mikel Arteta and Andre Bata to go, I think, and we think, he's actually going to turn his career around? Because there's so many players who have been at 23 and they have been, kind of glamorous and all of us saying, I think if he goes to another club, he would actually explode. And then their careers after 23 have never exploded. Marcus Rashford is one of them. At 23, Marcus Rashford looked like the most promising player in the world. Adnan Januzaj is the other, and a couple of others. We can talk about a couple of them. But to show you that these players at times have already hit their potential, why would a club like Chelsea really chase a player out of their ranks and send him to Arsenal, who is a bitter rival? If Chelsea want to finish top 4, that is like our primary target. If Chelsea want to win the Premier League, that is Arsenal's immediate target. So why would Arsenal and Chelsea trade players for the benefit of each other if, right, it is not out of malice? But if Andre Bata and Mikel Arteta think this is a good signing, I'm going to be behind it. Obviously, like I said yesterday, it gives us cover and it gives us options, and obviously it gives us that unpredictability that we've been craving for. Like Martinelli on the left hand side, and maybe tomorrow it's Eze on the left hand side, and maybe the other day it is Madueke on the left hand side, and that is some sort of unpredictability that teams have to deal with if you're playing against Arsenal. Now, the other second thing that actually makes me happy is a story that has come out of the media today, and they're actually saying that Arsenal are not giving up on their pursuit of Rodrigo due to Madueke. Now, they might fail to sign Rodrigo, but that is not linked to Noni Madueke. Arsenal's failure to sign Rodrigo is not linked to Noni Madueke. They want to sign Rodrigo, they want to sign Eze, and they want to sign Gyökeres even after signing Noni Madueke. And that is a huge plus, and that is a huge positive. I told you, the Noni Madueke deal is one I would react to, and you should react to as well, out of context, right? So if the context is that Noni Madueke arrives with Gyökeres and that is it, and Arsenal believe they have strengthened their attack with Madueke and Gyökeres, that is crap. That is rubbish. That is garbage. That is weak. That is like a weak spine, honestly, right? And that is one context, right? The other context is if Arsenal sign Gyökeres, sign Eze and Madueke, all of a sudden that is not so strong, but it doesn't guarantee that Arsenal have to depend on Madueke working, right? What makes the Madueke deal bad for me is if Madueke and his success are going to be pivotal and key to Arsenal's success. But I can tell you something. You look at Zinchenko right now. Or let's say Calafiori, right? Let's say Calafiori. If you look at Calafiori's success or failure has nothing to do with Arsenal's success. Like, Calafiori can spend a whole season without playing a single game and Arsenal win all the trophies they're competing in. Why? Because you have better players in front of him that really the success of Arsenal depends on. So if Madueke comes in and Arsenal have Saka, obviously Saka is going to play more than Madueke. And if Madueke comes in and Arsenal sign Rodrigo, obviously Rodrigo is going to play more than Madueke. And of course, he's not a number 9, so Gyökeres would play more than Madueke. So if you tell me that Saka scored 16 goals and maybe Rodrigo scored 14, that is 30, and we've got another 25 from Gyökeres, that is 55 goals, Madueke is then a surplus to, not a surplus requirement really, but because that means something else. But you understand the point. Then Madueke's goals are kind of the surplus, the icing on the cake. I love cakes, but the icing sugar absolutely hurts my teeth. So without icing sugar, I still eat cake and I still call it cake. It's not, I don't say, I ate cake without icing sugar. No, I actually ate cake, regardless of the presence or absence of icing sugar. So Madueke is not the worst signing in the world, and this is not me turning around. I'm trying to say, as long as Arsenal's success doesn't directly hinge on the success of Madueke as a signing, it all of a sudden becomes okay in terms of options, in terms of what we could do. But have Arsenal reached that level where we sign a backup player for 50 million? Maybe this is the summer. Maybe this is why Andre Bata is here. So Rodrigo is still being chased by Arsenal, still being tracked by Arsenal, and we're waiting for Sunday, which is tomorrow, for the Club World Dame World Cup to get out of the way. For the Club World Cup to get out of the way. And after it's out of the way, Alonso and the player are going to sit down and make a decision. I mean, we've been hearing all these bloody rumors and bloody, sneak peeks. We want the truth from the source, and the truth from the source is gonna come when, those two meet, Alonso, and of course, Alonso and Rodrigo. Now, Crystal Palace have done the unthinkable, right? They have launched a new kit. That is not the unthinkable. The unthinkable is they have launched a new kit, and their star player in Emirates, the guy that took them to the Europa League, the guy that actually made sure that Crystal Palace enjoy such a wonderful season, win a major trophy in a very long time, has been left out. Interesting, very, very interesting, has been left out of the kit launch. Now, you should go to Twitter and look at that post, right? And run through the pictures. There is no sign of Eze. I want you to go through the comments there. It's absolutely hot in the comments, and Crystal Palace are feeling the heat, right? Now, honestly, I want to say this. And I want to ask you a question, Izzy. Why would Arsenal do a kit launch and there is no Saka? Because Emirates Eze is the equivalent of Saka at Arsenal. Palace, Eze at Palace is the equivalent of Saka at Arsenal. So why would Arsenal dare do a kit launch without Saka? Because Saka is like the ambassador of this football club. Saka is like the player that Arsenal literally show out there as the face of the brand, as the face of the project. And that is Emirates Eze to Crystal Palace. So what Palace have done, they have announced a new kit, beautiful, marvelous, but they've actually left out Emirates Eze in the content of the new kit. And there are one or two things to consider here, right? And talk about. Number one, right, is Crystal Palace know what is coming. This is the truth. Crystal Palace fans know what is coming. Crystal Palace know what is coming. The player has told Crystal Palace, if I am leaving for Arsenal. And Arsenal have already had very positive talks with Emirates Eze to tell him, you're one of the players we want at the club. We're one of the players we need at the club. And we're going to do whatever it takes in our power to actually sign you. Now, that has not changed regardless of the Noni Madueke situation. That has not changed. So basically, Crystal Palace know they can't keep him against their will. And they're now out of the Europa League. So he would rather go and play Champions League with Arsenal than play UEFA Conference League at Crystal Palace. It's over. It's absolutely over between Crystal Palace and Emirates Eze. And for me, I don't see this as a bad thing. I think he's been a loyal servant at Crystal Palace, but now he's 27. I don't think Palace are going to stand in the way of a 27-year-old guy whose dream is to win the Premier League and win the Champions League, and he could. I'm not saying Arsenal are a guaranteed project to win, but you look at this PSG guy. Look at this PSG project. This PSG project was assembled like 3 years ago. 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago. It was assembled 3 years ago, and they kept on adding just a few cogs in the machine, and then removing the big-headed ones. Removing Mbappe, removing Sergio Ramos, removing Messi, Neymar. They just got rid of the parasites out of the team, and they focused. Deep work, focused. And what that gave birth to, amazing results. Amazing results. Pure, amazing results. So, what I want to say when it comes to Emirates Eze as a player, I think he's told Crystal Palace, I want to go to Arsenal. Are you guys going to let me? And Palace are like, if these guys are not messing about, and they're going to give us the offer that we need, and they're going to give us a respectful offer, put it on the table and say, we want Eze, we are coming with very good money, the deal is going to happen. And I think the deal is happening for Emirates Eze. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. We shall be discussing more of these stories. We'll be talking about Rodrigo in the next one. So if you're interested in seeing whether Arsenal will sell Rodrigo, I'm going to share why I think Arsenal will sell Rodrigo, especially after Noni Madueke, because looks like Andre Bata is not messing about.